One of the overall problems with greatness. Tell me if you ever heard this before. Are you blinded by nostalgia, or are you a prisoner of the moment? You may have heard or seen this quite frequently on a lot of social media, as well as in a lot of conversations pertaining mainly to disagreements. Whenever I see someone say that they prefer or favor something within the past that may be considered old by today or newer standards, people usually say, well, if that's the case, then you are blinded by nostalgia. In one of my recent videos of why I think Dragon Ball is overhated, I labeled out a criticism that most people use that if you think Dragon Ball is your favorite anime of all time, then you are blinded by nostalgia. But then there's the opposite side that says, well, if you like something of today or something of the new gen standards, then you are just a prisoner of the moment. So if I were to like stories like Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Vivi Fluid Eye's Song, ReZero, Beastars, or one of my favorites out right now, the Iden Deities Know Only Peace, or some of my favorite mangas out right now like Sakamoto Days and Spy X Family. Am I or others like me just prisoners of the moment? Or if I prefer something within the past that I enjoy much more than things of today, am I or others like me just blinded by nostalgia? Well, as always, let's talk about it. Now, of course, this doesn't only apply to the world of anime and manga, but in different facets of entertainment, even in sports, and especially my favorite, which is basketball. There are a lot of people that believe today's NBA players and the way the NBA is played is much more better and even more talented than it was decades ago. Some people, such as myself, do believe that Steph Curry is one of the best basketball players of all time, and even I would dare say one of the best scorers of all time. This then leads to, you can guess, a lot of other people saying that I'm not giving other players their just due, new or former players. For my anime and manga fans, this is the equivalent if someone said that they believe that a newer gen series is better than an older gen series, or cited some aspects that they believe that other things in it did a little bit better. This is what people mean by being a prisoner of the moment. By praising a lot of things that the newer gen can accomplish and has potential to accomplish or already has, the main issue is a lot of people within the older generation feel like they are not getting their just due or their own fair amount of respects. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of newer gen aspects and even things in entertainment that I enjoy much more than I did when I was growing up. Now, this example here is definitely going to rile up a lot of people when I say this, so I'm prepared to see them in the comment section, and that is, I personally like Tom Holland's Spider-Man much more than I did Tobey Maguire's. Now, please don't get me wrong, I really do love the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I do think Tobey Maguire is a phenomenal Peter Parker. I just think Tom Holland captures a lot of the essence that I personally do enjoy within the character of Spider-Man. Now, in the case of Tobey Maguire, I definitely would say he's a lot more better of a Peter Parker. But the main problem here is normalizing greatness or being too quick to rush to greatness. This mainly involves a lot of people in this generation casually throwing around a lot of high praise claims like legendary, or GOAT, or the best of all time, or just casually saying something is a 10 out of 10, or calling it something like it's at its peak or a classic, or that it's peak fiction, which leads people to believe a lack of authenticity. You may be asking now, how does this really pertain to nostalgia? Or, as I claimed, one of the overall problems with greatness itself. Probably saying now, but Berserk, I didn't grow up with any of these series or any of these players that you're talking about. I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan play or even watching Dragon Ball, and I didn't really even watch Naruto or even Kobe Bryant. So how can nostalgia play a factor if I'm not nostalgic about any of these things at all? As always, allow me to fully explain. By definition, nostalgia is a noun, which is a word used to identify any of a class of people, places, or things. But the main definition of nostalgia is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy or personal associations. However, even though that is the definition, that is not how we use or practice the word nostalgia. We usually associate the word nostalgia with the time of childhood. Because throughout time and changes within society, we have socially accepted that childhood is pretty much the best time to feel alive. Because as a child, we have a very vast amount of imagination that really changes and shapes our perspectives. but the main issue within nostalgia is believing too much within the past. As I cited from my examples with Steph Curry and even how I feel about Tom Holland being a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire, that does not mean every intangible thing within the past is completely better than something of today. I even stated in my Dragon Ball is overhated video that I personally do think Dragon Ball is the GOAT, but I am aware that it is not for everybody. And fans would even say that there are things that they do not like about the series, whether it be from the fans themselves, old gen fans, or even new gen fans. Even though I know movies and anime and manga are much more highly subjective than it is with basketball or any other form of sports. One of my friends asked me that do I believe that Dragon Ball, if it were released today, whether it be Z or the OG series, would it be as good or compete with other new gen animes of today? And I honestly said, no, I don't think it would. And I know, I called it the greatest anime franchise of all time, so how can I really just say that it probably wouldn't be as good as it is today? When it comes down to Dragon Ball, it is one of the originals of Shonen Jump. Seeing how a lot of people have different perspectives of it today and different varieties of anime that they do enjoy. How I've personally seen from my perspective a lot of people criticize it and hate on it today, it would pretty much be tough to see how it would do in a new gen era. Even though I and many Dragon Ball fans as well would probably say we would still love it no matter whether what time period or the first time it aired or the first time it dropped its first chapter, we would probably still love Dragon Ball. So as far as you are in the video now, you may be asking, what does this really have to do with greatness? Or Berserk, what is really the true point that you are trying to get at? Well, I don't mean to do this, I'm going to answer a question with another question. It's to really help prove my point on what I'm trying to say within this video. So, for example, for my 2000 kids out there, if I were to show you this commercial,
it's the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolatey flavor. Reese's Puff Cereal, part of a complete breakfast. P to the U double Reese's.
I bet a lot of you are thinking now, man, that was a true nostalgia trip, but now I propose this question to you. When evaluating media or any other forms of entertainment, do you believe that saying that you are blinded by nostalgia or a prisoner of the moment is a fair criticism? As I presented both meanings of being a prisoner of the moment and being blinded by nostalgia, do you, the viewer, honestly believe that this is a fair criticism when judging or critiquing any other form of media or entertainment? As I discussed mainly the pros and cons within either side. For those just checking out this video and maybe not knowing my own perspective, do I believe that this is a form of criticism of any kind? If you were to ask me for my own opinion, as most know, I'm pretty much the middle guy on this, and while I do understand both perspectives, I would tell you, no, I don't consider being blinded by nostalgia or a prisoner of the moment of any form of a criticism. A lot may be saying and wondering, why? Well, as I always say, allow me to fully explain. My answer to this is, well, we are all nostalgic and have let our nostalgia blind us before, and we have all been prisoners of the moment at some point in time. You may be saying, but Berserk, I didn't grow up with any of this, but that's not the definition. As restated, nostalgia is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past. It doesn't say or pertain mainly within childhood. Anything within the past can be nostalgic. Any event or anything that has caused you to have a sentimental longing or wistful affection towards it means you are nostalgic. And this isn't really a bad thing. If you like something of today much more than something previously, that is not a bad thing either. For a good example, for my NBA fans out there, we will always remember how good the Golden State Warriors really were. Whether you loved them or hated them, you will always recognize that they were considered one of the best teams that we have possibly ever seen in our lifetime. For my anime and manga fans, we will pretty much say the exact same thing about a series like Jujutsu Kaisen or even My Hero Academia or even Haikyuu, or many more stories to show in the future as well. Enjoying something of today more than enjoying something previously shown is not a bad thing. For new gen fans, please understand and even respect what got it there, which could be said the same for a lot of new gen series that may have inspired other people to do and follow their own dreams, whether it be creating their own story, creating their own content, or following their own dreams within sports or anything else. It is great to give something new its fair share of praise, but praising it way too soon can be detrimental and lack a lot of authenticity. And the same is said for people who are nostalgic. There is nothing nothing wrong with enjoying something in the past much more than something you've seen of today. Understand for the new gen fans that this is their time. The way that a lot of these people may value Steph Curry may be the same way a lot of people value guys like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, or the same way that some people value series like Dragon Ball, Fist of the North Star, the JoJo series, or even Yu Yu Hakusho. And I even go as far as to say like Slam Dunk and Hajime no Ippo have inspired many and a plethora of genre to be made. So again, remember, this is their time as well. To wrap this up on the last topic, some may say, well, what does this do, or how is this a problem for greatness? The main problem with this, as I said before, is a lack of authenticity. And first thing is, let me make this very clear. I understand when evaluating, critiquing, or judging media, it will never be for everybody. Everyone has their own value and way of judging things as what they pertain to be good or bad. But how can or why does this really throw off what is truly greatness? I stated this in a previous video of mine titled Why Anime and Manga Comparisons Matter. I stated that most people would rather be right at the moment than rather be right in the long run. I know I'm definitely not the first person to ever think this or even say this, but the problem with a lot of people's authenticity or judgment of greatness is that it varies from time to time, which can make some people feel like some opinions are not as genuine or legitimate as they perceive themselves to be. Even though I personally do think that this is a good thing. As time goes on, we evolve. So why shouldn't the way that we perceive our opinions or beliefs evolve as well? But the rebuttal and possible downside to this would be is how will we remember the things that got us to where we are? As we see how a lot of context is lost nowadays between what is truly accurate, how will we all truly understand and value greatness? No matter what the answer is or what we may see in the future, I will always say this: always enjoy something within the fullest extent within any form of media and entertainment. And that pretty much wraps up the analysis and discussion for this video. As always, if you like content like this and want to see more in the future, please think about liking and share your feelings below whether you agree or disagree. And if you'd like to keep up with me, please think about subscribing to the channel and follow me on other social media links. With that being said, as always, I'll see you around.